Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Big Jonas, Monday, May 14th, 2018. We are going to take a look at Bitcoin and crypto in general. A lot of action today. We're looking at the daily candle that is basically going to be set about a half hour from now. And quite a day of price action here. What kind of a hanging man potential candle do we have here? We basically were able in one day to touch our bottom support and then touch our top resistance. And now we're kind of hanging out in the middle here, and we're trying to fight for something over 8,700 before the candle close. We'll zoom in a little bit here in the 4 hour. We basically see that we got a lot of rejection here on the 55 EMA in the 4 hour. That basically coincided with a long wick here. Pretty nasty actually in the 4 hour here. Now granted, we had some great volume this morning. It's a very nice candle here. We had the inverse chart Simpson pattern play out. We had seen that before back on this wave 2, if you will, consolidation, where it came back down on a nasty red candle, consolidated up on a rising wedge that broke bullish. And we saw something similar, but with a lot less volume, and it's kind of a lot less Momo. I mean, it was nice to see this complete 180, reversal here, but I don't know. It just kind of feels like because of this pullback here, we're now kind of under where we wanted to hold support currently around, 80, was it 86.90, and we're on 86.60 right now. So, we still got about a little bit of time left for this daily candle here, but as long as we keep putting in these higher lows on the 4 hour, we can still move up here. But right now is a very indecision area here. Right now, we're still kind of in this rising wedge pattern here, where we continue to rise up and hit resistance there. We were continuing to hold support, kind of here. And until we break out of this pattern low or pattern high, you really can't establish, or we kind of hit this resistance stronger than what we broke through earlier today, or what we topped off at earlier today, in the 9100 area, or we're going to test over here back to the 85s and basically see if we can hold and then move lower if we are unable to hold. Now lower could potentially put us back in the sevens. And from there, we go from high nines to in the sevens in like a couple of weeks' time. I mean, have we lost so much of that incredible Momo we were able to achieve from this crazy candle we had back on April 12th that brought us all that price action all the way through April, especially with the altcoins. So for now, we're still in this pattern here until we are able to break this kind of rising wedge still, but almost a broadening wedge because we're getting a little wider up and down here. Now, right now on the 1 hour, we are holding EMA 55. We are holding EMA, looks like 50, obviously 50 and 55 because obviously they're so close. But right now we're able to hold also above the middle Bollinger, which is nice. This was a pretty nasty rejection here with double wicks here on the 1 hour in our kind of resistance zone. That zone obviously coincides with here where we found support, and here where we found support, and this resistance area actually turned into support. And prior to that, this area was actually an area of resistance that actually held. So there's a lot of history here in this area here. So we want to break above, we want to get rejected, and we want to use this as a support eventually. But for now, because we weren't able to break above it, and actually we're quite a bit lower now, this is pretty strong resistance here. So until we break out of this kind of back and forth rising bear flag currently, we're not going to really change any kind of direction here. Let's look at Ethereum. Similarly, we're able to find really nice support here. Now, I like to go to the 4 hour. The 4 hour, a lot of these charts has really been kind of setting the stage in terms of what price action and areas that really have been impactful. So down here, we see how the 4 hour, once we're able to break above it, held for a long time and had this failed kind of head and shoulders that broke bullish, and that set this great run here. We were able to hold above this 200 EMA on the 4 hour for so long, and then we actually broke it with a double wick, and we love to see that. That basically shows a strong area of support currently in the 640 to, let's say, 650 range here. We held very nice, and now we're kind of rising up there, and we're still looking at somewhat of a bullish pattern here. I mean, this is definitely bullish. We're still in this kind of bull pennant, bull pennant. I see that still. Still we could basically like to break above it. But if we break this with conviction, again, this is the 4 hour, and close and use it and basically try and test it, but are unable to break through it, then that could be really bad. And that could basically set a lower point where we kind of retest the 200, potentially going even lower. And where could we basically find that support? Well, right here, I mean, psychologically, your 500 area there is really kind of that place where, um, if we get down there, you're looking for that to hold. Prior to that, if we get down there, if we break this previous support here, looks like right here, about 620 area, let's call it 617, let's call it. That's in your next area of strong support. We basically was found as resistance support many times, held, and that's what brought us that last nice candle there. So a break of 620 and 500 is definitely something we can play around with, but not there yet. We have not broken bearish on this kind of rising wedge. We still could definitely break up bullishly and retest the 760s and potentially even higher. Litecoin had a very nice day today as well. On the 4 hour, we're basically seeing a couple things here where we had a similar bottoming. Let's actually go to the 1 hour here, get a sense. So a similar situation here where we had this big dump. We held higher than our 131, 132s we put in a couple days ago. Basically bottomed at 135-ish, and then 135 to 150. Are you kidding me? In a day? And that's amazing. That was great money there. You basically didn't have to go through all this pain if you had got in when I actually did a trade and actually was able to kind of scale out of a small loss in this area here, because I actually thought we were going a little bit lower and kind of missed my entry this morning when we actually went higher there. So this was a super nice trade. If you were able to get in the 135 to 137 area and get out when we broke 150, that was just great money there. Now, can we go higher? Well, this area here was actually a strong resistance level, and we broke it right with conviction. Then we broke right down with support. So we lost that, but basically shown that we can break it. So even if we kind of consolidate in this area for a couple days here, it's possible, or a day or two, we could break it again, and then we're definitely going to test somewhere in that 160 range if possible. If not, if Bitcoin breaks bearish, we're definitely kind of retest the lower 130s, and a break of 132, 131, which is where we basically bottomed out a few days ago, a week ago or so, could put a lot of lower areas in play, but we're not going to talk about that yet. It's still a long way to go. The daily candle is actually, I think, a little better than the Bitcoin candle. It's definitely still green. It basically shows that there's a little more bullishness right now in today's price action in Litecoin. Even if it has this really nasty wick, which it does, but is able to close green, that could definitely show it has a little more bullish tendencies, you could argue, than Bitcoin as well. We can take a look at some alts. Why not? And let's take a look at a couple, starting with ADA. And listen, it had this really nice run, had this really nice pullback here, pretty nasty actually. We had some really nice lower wicks here. This is the daily chart. Basically shows we had support found on the lower Bollinger on the daily at around 2800 Satoshi. Able to hold that twice. And now we're kind of finding this area here, but this is a pretty nasty candle here. We're basically putting in a bearish engulfing. Where today's price action completely engulfs yesterday's candle and is pretty close to engulfing the previous days. That's really bearish. I don't like to see that at all. So we could, best case, hold in this area here and consolidate more. You would like to see that. If we start to test the 200-day, though, on the daily, that could basically show this run is kind of running out of steam here. It was so low on the 4 hour under our 50 or 55 and our 200 here. So our 200 right now will act as resistance. We can get up to 3200 area here. Volume, not really much to show about it right now, but I really don't want to break down any more from here. If we start to break down any more from here, we're kind of showing this as kind of a run that's kind of losing steam there. But for now, I'd love to hold in this area. Let's look at ARK, A-R-K, which is one I've been seeing, a lot of people talk about. And listen, a massive pullback, basically from our New Year's 76,000 Satoshi, bottomed 27,000 Satoshi, and had this kind of nice little run here. Nasty pullback, super reversal here, super all-time, well, not all-time high, but like definitely breakout from its resistance here. This is incredible, but obviously this must have put in a super overbought position, way overbought in the 4 hour. Look how topped off that is. This was a guaranteed kind of collapse, capitulation, the price action here. Congratulations to people that sold the way top. This is an example here of where you don't want to FOMO on a 4 hour RSI that's so high here. Even the daily must have been, see, the daily basically shows, okay, there's room to run, but now you have this nasty candle here on a daily that's about to close in 20 minutes, and you have this super nasty candle here. So this does not set the stage very well for tomorrow's price action. This had a great reversal from 3,000, so that was almost 15,000 satoshi in like a day and a half. Like, that's crazy good. So that's a super in and out kind of right there. But now we've set these resistance lines where we have to basically acknowledge here where this is kind of our super resistance here, and maybe this is our super support, and we're kind of this broadening, opening up wedge here where this is our top. Maybe we'll test a bottom here. I'd like to see a bounce on this trend line support here if we can, and see how long that will play out. Let's go to Bitcoin Cash. So we have had, this is the Coinbase one. Let's just go to the 4 hour here, get a little more information here. So interesting. So we are finding support still on this trend line, which we basically tested here and held here with the two nasty wicks, and here that is also riding the 200-day and the 4 hour indicator. I like to follow a lot over this last run. So we're still kind of holding bullish tendencies here, but I don't know. This looks a little iffy to me here. If we start breaking through this here, any of this can come way down. We could retest lows as low as, I don't know. We could definitely break 1,000. Let's put it that way, because 1,000 from a number psychological standpoint, it's also has a lot of history, kind of right there. Back here, and now we broke it with real conviction. We tested it, we held. So if we break right here or somewhere on this line here down, 1,000 is definitely in play. If we're able to show we can hold, then we might be able to test this upper trend line and basically retest that nice high we put in a couple weeks ago at 1,800. So let's look at a couple more here. How about EOS? Interesting. Okay, so on the 4 hour here, we're still finding support on the 200 EMA on the 4 hour. We tested it before. We're testing it again. This is sketchy when we test things twice. I don't know. This could definitely fall through. If we fell through right here, 13,000-ish Satoshi area is a lot of history here and held here as well. So a break of this zone here would definitely put this area to test and play. If we can hold here, by all means, you want to look at these next confluence of EMAs we have going on here. It's actually a pretty big confluence here in the 4 hour. We got the 50, we got the 100, 21 it looks like as well. Or at least the 50 and 100 area right there. So this is kind of going to be a resistance area if we can turn the corner and come back up. Otherwise, we could definitely test this area here of recent support along this kind of way up. Remember, we can correct here, and this correction could bring in, potentially, if we correct and hold, kind of your next leg up, which could bring us, back to all-time high area here, retest and break higher. So, definitely not all bearish as a whole. Let's look at a couple more here. How about Nano? Interesting here. Okay, so we were basically in this nasty downtrend here. This is the 4 hour chart. We actually were able to break it bullishly, came up, retested it, and now we're holding it here. So right now, this is actually pretty good. Basically showing we were able to hold this support line here. And if we can basically set establishment that this is now a new support, we can move higher. Otherwise, this blue line could be tested. But for now, let's kind of chug along and potentially kind of find a situation here where once support is held, we can start breaking through these EMAs and moving higher. There is a lot of resistance here, though, in this 8,900 area here. We can look at Neo, BTC, kind of similar, very similar charts here. We have a lot of these rising wedges through the day here, where we were very oversold. A lot of smart money came in, when we broke below here. This was a lot of money here, came in, took a lot of profit on the way here. So yes, this is big bear flaggish, or is it bull flaggish because we actually have this lower wick here, could potentially be acting as a bull flag. So this could break up if we can find support in the 55 and then get back to the 200 on the 4 hour, which this is a red line here, find some support there. So this actually could break bullish if we're able to confirm that low here. That would actually put in a higher low than from when we started this run back here. All right, guys, so there's still obviously a lot going on in crypto tonight. We have big convention in Manhattan right now that is basically pumping out some interesting news. We're going to see that over the next couple days, and I believe that will definitely impact a lot of the price action that we're going to be seeing in Bitcoin and crypto in general. About 10 minutes away from the daily close here, and all three are really trying to fight, trying to put in a nice kind of close here. Right now, Litecoin definitely seems to be putting in the best looking candle. Definitely seems to be putting in something that could show a better day or continued momentum tomorrow. This nice green candle here with a nice green wick. And we're basically seeing that it had a chance to put in this kind of indecision doji and did not. It basically has found some support in the, what do we hit up there? Boom, right there, 145.23, which corresponds to holding this top off here. So we're putting in a better wick or a better candle than the rest. Ethereum is putting in somewhat of a hanging man, on the daily. It could definitely be a bearish reversal here. We kind of be stopped out at the previous day's high, but we're still kind of in this uptrend here. So this is kind of an indecision. I want to say slightly bearish. I want to go Bitcoin Cash. Similarly, this could be a nastier hanging man, actually a little more bearish than the previous ones here, where we were able to hold this line here. 1, 2, we broke it, brought up against it. Now we held it again. But I don't know. It's a bearish engulfing of the previous day's candle there. It just looks a little sketch. And then finally, we'll just finish with Bitcoin, and we basically see that. Wow, look at that. It is just putting in the tightest right now. The tightest. Doesn't know what it is. This is basically it's a super doji. It's basically a dead even doji, wicks on both sides. You could argue it's slightly more bullish than bearish just because of how tight, the price action is here, how tight the lines are, how tight the lower wick is, how tight the close could be if it literally holds like right here in the next 10 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. This is kind of still a lot to hold on to right here. There's argument for both sides, bull and bear. As we get some sort of more news coming out of the convention and other interesting stuff happening in crypto, we'll see what happens. But for now, there's still a lot of resistance areas above us here. We definitely would like to try and test that 10,000 area again. But now that we've broken so low here and found support, clear support for the past 3 days, let's keep building on this momentum here. A break lower would put this kind of lower triangle definitely in play. That puts us kind of in the mid sevens. But for now, we don't need to talk about that. As long as like 8,300 really holds strong, we can definitely start moving higher. Anything after that and anything on the table, be safe out there. The volume's a little suspect, so keep an eye on that. These kind of runs and these kind of nice candles definitely have a lot of money flow, but it's still not the kind of money flow you want to see for a lot of conviction reversals. Especially with Litecoin, I've been watching, a huge, every hour, 12,000 coin, 9,000 coin out of nowhere, on the up and the down. So there's still a lot of volatility, and we're seeing a lot of manipulation, mostly by a lot of, heavy roller high players. This is kind of how the whole crypto game works. So for now, I wish you a safe evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, and remember, please follow me on Twitter. I am at Big Chonis. I am almost at 12,000 followers. I really appreciate everybody's support. I'm trying to put out some of the best content I can about everything that's happening in crypto and my thoughts on charts and what have you. Until then, we'll talk to you people soon. Have a good night.